right, we are episode 72. Thanks for joining us today. And today we're going to talk about why Colorado home prices are so high. And are they going to stay that high, or will they drop? Will we see a bubble burst in our market? So we're going to address that today, talking about some of the key indicators, supply and demand being probably the most important one. And also just talking about what drives Colorado compared to the rest of the nation. So I want to start off, what?
Well, you said bubble. Do you think there's a bubble?
I don't think there's a bubble, but I want to start by some economic predictions.
Everyone just stop listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, pause. Hold on.
But why isn't there a bubble, guys?
Should have been chewing gum and we all would have had a bubble. And then, is there?
Got my big league chew.
Lawrence Yun is one of the economists that I like to follow. He had mentioned that, in the U.S. total in the next 2 years, he thinks there's going to be a 2% increase in home values next year and in the following year, so 2025 and 26.
For total or just 2%
each,
total?
2% each year. Yeah, so that is what you call very, very gradual growth. Usually Colorado doubles whatever the national average is.
Oh, sorry. So you're saying national average?
Yeah, 2%. So national average at 2% per year. Colorado would then, I would assume, do closer to 4% per year, which is right in line with what we did this past year, about 4.4% appreciation on single-family homes. And condos and townhomes had a hit in our market. They went down 6.25%. So if you're looking for the deal, that might be your bubble in the Colorado market. I mean, our bubbles pop differently than the rest of the market's bubbles, right? And we are in a very, very good growth market that is not very volatile. And we've just not experienced a lot of volatility. And to give you an example of that, during the Great Recession, we decreased 8 to 20%, depending on where you were in town and what type of home you owned, where other markets decreased 3/4 of their value, right? 75% in some markets like Orlando and Vegas, and markets that really depend on discretionary income and tourism for them to survive. And so we're more of a growth market. We're an incredibly balanced economy. Meaning tons of tech, you've got medical, you've got a lot of oil and gas still. We were an oil and gas town back in the 80s, and now that's changed. We're a lot more diverse now. You've got a lot of retail. You've got a lot of different aspects of the economy that make it balanced and make it so that it's pretty safe. One of the safest places to buy an investment.
Yeah.
Now, can you afford the payment? That's the question, right? So I think a lot of people are battling with that. And that's why maybe you're listening today is like, they're hopeful. A lot of people are hopeful that prices will come down. There's just going to be this bubble that bursts in Colorado. And, what would have to happen for that to happen, you guys? I
think you'd have to see interest rates go even higher than they are. Mm-hmm. So the people who need to sell for whatever reason
inventory
would be able to drop down.
Yeah.
But inventory is going to swell up.
Yeah.
So the lowest inventory numbers I've seen is 1,200 homes on the market, where economists say 12,000 homes in the 7-county metro area in Denver is like a balanced market. Yeah. So perspective-wise, you got almost 10 to 12 buyers for every listing. Mm-hmm. So that's a very competitive market to buy in. So that I would see interest rates would be the big thing there. I can't see. I don't know. I came from a market that we lost 50% of the value in the Great Recession in 2008. Yeah. And that was really painful because I was a homeowner 2 times over.
Right.
And coming out here, I really looked at we only, the area I was looking in only saw a 10% decrease.
Yep.
And it just was stagnant growth, but a 10% drop. A couple of years they recovered back to the values.
Yeah, 2012, I think we grew like 6%, and then 13 were double digits.
Yeah,
right.
And where I sold a home, it took 8+ years just to recover back to the value that I paid when I bought, and that was a really rude awakening. But I listened to broke people and bought a home and didn't understand the economy, so I really tried to study that here in Denver, and it's made a big difference.
So don't listen to broke people with your home buying decisions. That might be the biggest takeaway from this podcast ever. That's good stuff. So I always go back to that conference I went to when I asked the agent from Peoria, Illinois, hey, how much appreciation did you have in 2021? Biggest growth year we've ever had, 18% growth in our market. And she said 0. And I said, what?
0%?
Are you kidding me? 0. And she's like, oh yeah, no, people don't buy here for growth. They buy here for cash flow. That's it. So they just tried to own as many doors as possible because the homes were $80,000 a piece. and you just keep them and hold them for cash flow because you could make money every month on it. So that was the strategy in that market. Zero growth pattern. There was nothing going on. Jobs moving in did not exist.
Oh, wow.
So like our growth that we have is because of jobs, right? And so to me, the number one thing that would cause a bubble to burst would be job fallout, maybe based on an AI takeover. Or
Is that actually true though, with the post-pandemic, what percentage are still working from home?
about 28%.
Are still working entirely from home? So I would think that even protects us against a job because you don't need to live where you work.
Yeah.
That's another just argument why we don't think we're going to have a bubble, because one of those dynamics is no longer such a important dynamic.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, what if
Like a huge sector laid off. Is that what
or
you're saying?
AI
Yeah.
took a bunch of people's jobs,
okay.
right? Or something like that, where those people that were working from home now no longer have income. Like that would definitely cause all markets to decrease, including ours.
Because I heard like the Denver commercial real estate, downtown Denver area, we're still at like a 64% occupancy downtown Denver, where the national average is 46%.
Wow.
So we're even more secure in that aspect of things.
People like to get outside here. They
Yeah.
like to go to work, get out of their
The
pajamas.
sun's out, it's good. So
Well, that right there just outlines another reason why I don't personally think that prices will drop significantly in this market. We live in a pretty unique place relative to the country, right? Where we've got it all, right? And people come here for, whether it's the mountains, whether it's like the city life. There's a culture here in Colorado that a lot of people want to be a part of, and I think will continue to want to be a part of. And especially when you have places like an interesting market, like places in California, in New York, like the coastal areas, right? Where people are like, screw that, I'm going to Colorado or wherever some of the popular areas are. Well, I think we'll always be one of those popular areas where we'll always have that buyer demand here for the most part. And so as long as we continue to have that buyer demand, that inventory is not going to be such an issue as far as pushing us or popping that bubble. Rates will always have an effect. Mm-hmm. They always will.
They will.
Not proportionally here though.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they'll always have an effect, but to what extent here?
Yeah.
Because of the popularity of it and because of how many people are moving, I think that will always be a factor for us as far as the appreciation and the constant outlook.
Well, I don't know. We're four people. We have reasons to be worthwhile and listening on this topic, but so many of our clients are convinced that maybe there's an opportunity and they're waiting for the price to come, and it's probably not going to happen. So if you're trying to time a bottom, that's
we just passed it.
it was a long time ago.
Our bottoms are extremely shallow if they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but the up is the up, right?
right.
Best
So
time to
our-
buy was 20 years ago. Next best time is like right now.
Yeah. So the bottom being shallow, the good point is, yes, getting a home for maybe $5,000 or $10,000 off the asking price that's reasonably priced already is an actual good deal compared to a competitive market where they're overbidding $50,000 to $100,000. So that's one perspective. When we had interest rates drop in it was the first number was a 5, and then there was a really large fraction after that. We lost 10% of the inventory in the market for those 10 days. Like there was so much activity in that short period of time. It just got gobbled up because everyone said, oh, my payment is now this. It dropped down significantly, so they went and attacked it.
And that's the other thing is like where rates are at now. It's a great case study to look at right now. Within maybe the past 18 to 24 months is where rates have been, right? We still had, we really didn't have a depreciation, right? We were either level. Let's back up. In single family homes, right? Single family homes, we either stayed level or increased maybe 1% in the past 2 years. So we still saw appreciation. Condos and townhomes a little bit different, but that was with rates here. So again, with how high our demand is here in Colorado, we have a pent up demand, and it's just kind of generating.
We think
right?
we do.
I think we do, based off of, at least based off my database.
Yep.
I do.
And
I've got a
population
pent up demand in my
sizes.
personal
We do.
personal database and pipeline. But once that rate drops or threatens to drop, just watch what happens. We'll have that appreciation within a couple months of like
That's the
crazy value,
Colorado can go from 4% to 12% really fast.
almost overnight.
If affordability is not an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
So
No question.
this market is
We're right on the threshold.
a pretty
of first,
constant appreciating market.
Yeah.
I think the last time this market specifically, which was also the national market, had any type of depreciation was the Great Recession.
Yeah.
That was the last time.
I think we've
Single
only
family.
seen 7 out of the whole since they've tracked the stats for the market. We've only seen 7 times where that value has went backwards.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's the Great Depression, the Great Recession, and then, I mean, condos last year.
Oh, yeah, and we have,
in the .com bubble.
Yeah.
Like there was just,
Well-
and that's
there's only
not
a
to
few
say we don't have
instances.
troughs every
Yeah,
once in
but
a while,
we've-
right? But
There's
The insurance
seasonality.
costs and the weather, there's a lot more factoring more heavily into the condo. It's
yeah,
not
that's-
just
yeah.
the supply demand dynamic.
and that's
Definitely.
going to be a factor moving forward as well, which I'm glad you brought that up because like
And we probably have more exposure here than some other places. Certainly up in the mountains, it's really, really tough to get
Yeah, that's
insured.
fire insurance. out
oh,
there is-
we just recently we've had hail, we've had tornadoes in Highlands Ranch, we've had major windstorms, we've had crazy blizzards. Like just the weather here is typically pretty nice. When it's bad,
It's pretty bad.
it can get pretty
It
bad.
comes through quickly. So
Yeah.
it's not a Midwest tornado like Tornado Alley kind of tornado. Like there's just pieces of houses missing, not a 1.5-mile path that's just gutted.
Yeah.
So it perspective wise, but Colorado does get the most amount of hail out of any state, which is unusual. But yeah, we get a lot of it.
The problem there is that the insurance companies are now looking at that and boosting our premiums here in Colorado specifically.
Where can you go that doesn't have some type of natural disaster going on, right? Like
Yeah.
you
It's
got
nowhere you want to be.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
lot of
Colorado.
hail in
I'll deal
North
with the hail
Dakota.
all day long compared
Yeah.
to hurricanes,
Montana.
and fire, and we have our fires too every now and then in
Yeah.
the mountains. But like, there's just some other places that have a lot more frequent issues, tornadoes, than what we have.
And regardless of all that, right, we still have a market that's going to appreciate because of previous things that we've mentioned before. So
Yeah.
I think we're pretty resilient when it comes to comparing markets.
Yeah. Well, and as a native, like perspective wise, I grew up in Littleton, Colorado, and I moved away to go to school, and I always wanted, growing up, I always wanted to live somewhere tropical. Like always. Palm trees, I was obsessed with palm trees. I loved them.
That explains
Every time
a
I
lot.
go to California, it was just like this feeling of like, oh, I've arrived. Like this is it, or Florida or any of those places. I just loved it. Loved like experiencing the beach, and like that was so cool to me because I didn't have it growing up. But then after living in Barcelona for 2 years, after, traveling more and seeing some of these things, I grew to appreciate Colorado more than I ever have. And the beauty that we have here, and just the mountains, like having the mountains close by, being able to ski, being able to like go on hikes within 20, 30 minutes, of where we live. Like it's amazing. Like and I know other places have mountains too, but the Rocky Mountains that's where it's at.
We
Like,
have the
they're
mountains.
best.
not
The
the-
Colorado Rocky Mountains, that is, like, it's
Like I know you have hills in North Carolina, I get it, but that sounds so arrogant. But come to Colorado, come
know,
check it out.
a
We'll show you some
double
houses.
black diamond on the East Coast is a little bit different than double black diamond in the
Yeah.
Mountain
The
West.
audio of skiing on the East Coast is a whole different game.
right?
Because the
It's completely different.
And Utah and Idaho are listening right now, going, "What about us?"
Hey,
We're
yeah,
pretty
I won't.
cool,
I
too.
won't bag. I won't bag on Utah or Idaho either because they're very similar. I was in school in Idaho a
Ski
lot,
hills are, yeah.
but like I don't know what it. I do know what it is. Colorado is just very, and Utah's very similar. And Utah's a pretty similar market to us as well right now, just because of the accessibility to everything.
Yeah.
And Colorado has that. I think that's what makes Colorado so valuable is our accessibility, or whether you want to call it
It's
walkability
the
or whatever.
enjoyment
it
of
is.
life. It's the good weather.
Right.
It's the sunshine.
Idaho,
It's-
not so much. Montana, not so much. But those are still really popular areas right now, just because of the location and the
Yeah.
climate.
How many other states can you say that the outdoor environment is pleasant 10 months out of the year? Right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty much how we
pretty
are
rare.
here.
I s-
Where
I s-
California, they can say that 12 months out of 12.
Yeah, so I say it a lot, like
get
Northern California, when you live there, costs aside and such, quality of life was awesome. So we left Northern California, went to the East Coast for 3 years, and then we came back to in our mind, the next best thing. And the only thing we say we don't have here that they have there is the ocean.
Yep.
And if
the one
you've
thing.
been the kid who hates having sand in your bathing suits, that was never a problem for me. So this is the best.
Not a good feeling.
Don't like it.
So yeah, I think we've hit on a few reasons why Colorado's an attraction, why a lot of people are moving here. We did increase, population size by about 28,000 people this last year. So our numbers are back up compared to what they were before. We were starting to slow down, 14, 15,000.
They
Now
were
we're
a
back
lot
up.
higher in the past when we
Yeah.
were getting the big appreciation. So
Yep, absolutely. And so we're starting to I think grow again because of that. And we do have the rent environment. Just so you know, it's not super affordable either. If you're not owning a home, you're still paying a decent amount in rent. As far as like the average rent cost that I see out there is probably close to $2,000. I mean that's about right.
for small places, it's more like 3,000. I've seen
Yeah.
rent payments in the sixes for
Oh, yeah.
larger single family homes.
Right, but we're talking like 2-bed, 2-bath condos, for $2,000. I mean, that's in a nice area. That's pretty common. So, you can compare that to other options that you have if you're thinking about moving to the Denver metro area. But that's about it. Average price in our market's about $750,000 roughly, give or take. And we should see that continue to increase if the predictions by these economists are accurate, which they are half the time. Half the time they're right. That's what we found out.
It used to be so much higher in accuracy, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a big takeaway from this one is Colorado is a very good market to own a home in, and if you can afford to do it now, like never mind the rate. The rate might hurt a little bit for a little while. That'll change, but if you can afford to do it, get into a home as soon as you can because you're just building money up the sooner you get in.
Yep.
And I'm super confident that we're going to just continue to appreciate
Yeah.
in a healthy way,
Yep.
right? So
Well, and if you're someone that thinks like, maybe you think that prices are going to come down, or you're thinking that just it's impossible to afford living here, then take a serious look at this 2-1 buy down thing because we're doing it a lot for buyers still, and sellers are still allowing it to happen where they'll pay for a little over 2% of the purchase price for you to go in and bring the loan down 2% for the first year and 1% for the second year. The average difference on that is about $1,000, you guys. So $1,000 can go a long way. I mean, that in a payment right now, $1,000 is like over $100,000. So do you think that home values are going to go down $100,000 in the next year
Nope.
on average?
No.
I mean, that is every time I hear, I'm just going to wait until next year.
you might be waiting for a really long time.
I think
if you're going to wait.
Let's make that the outgoing message of this podcast. What are you waiting for? Everything we've talked about, this is one of the best markets. Get started.
Yeah.
We'll help you with the rates. We use that buy down a lot. It's a little buyer friendly right now. That may not stay that way when folks who have to sell finally come on the market in about 3 months. But
So-
right now, it's in the buyer's favor.
Yeah, one of my favorite little quotes I saw in 1971, the interest rates for a mortgage was 7.33%, which is kind of about where we're at. If you waited for interest rates to go down, you wouldn't have purchased a home until 1993, and you would have rented for 22 years while the rates go down. Meanwhile, real estate values quadrupled.
You would have been throwing your money away for 22 years.
22 years, where you could have taken whatever it was and quadrupled that money. So yeah, it's an interesting challenge in getting into the market and knowing the market where it's going to be strong, right?
Yep.
The other thing that we haven't talked about is assumable loans. So as a buyer, if you have some equity and some cash, trying to take a home there's actually a lot more than foreclosures or short sales that you could get to do an assumable loan on, and you can make some really good money there too.
Yep.
Because you could save over $1,000 a month in just payment because what it is. So
Right.
Don't screw yourself over. Do
And-
yourself a favor and just do it.
Put very little down and leverage the purchase price. That's the beauty of real estate. That's the compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, Einstein said. Because of that, right? You
Yeah.
can leverage, that money that you're borrowing to grow for you. So awesome. All right. Well, I think it's been a good discussion. Are values coming down in Colorado? I think the consensus is probably not. But we appreciate you listening. And if that's your hope,
sorry to disappoint.
yeah, well, and if it
just
does
talk you out
happen,
of it.
you can call us wrong when,
Yes.
when it happens. That's just fine. We just kind of listen to economists and like we said, half the time they're right, and we'll continue to listen to experts and also dictate things based on the supply and demand that we see in our market, which is the biggest indicator. We've still got a shortage of supply. We've still got an overage of demand that's coming as long as affordability gets fixed just a little bit here. So. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to helping you with your real estate needs. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.